All right, another Jay's 2 cars video. We're gonna be doing another video on the R8. Some things have changed with this car actually since we did our last video, which was installing the wing. I've had the car for over about 3 months now. Yeah, January, February, March, all of those months. And I'm really enjoying it. So I might give you guys a little mini review about how I feel about the car, but some things that have changed since you guys saw the wing go on. The HRE P107 SCs, which is one of their super light wheel designs. It's basically an update to the P107. I like the split 5 design. It looks like a Euro design as far as I'm concerned. It is an obvious throwback to like the first gen R8, which had a split 5 wheel. And I haven't seen many people do it. In fact, I take that back. HRE actually posted a picture at Texas 2K of a black R8 that had the exact same wheels, same generation, same color. And I was like, son of a bitch. Anyway, some updates too in terms of go fast parts for the car. We've already got the VF Engineering tune, which I already said. I actually just did the TCU tune this week, which really woke up the transmission in terms of its snappiness and its kick down and how fast all of the transmission response is. So this is my first like DSG, I guess whatever they call it for Audi, dual clutch automatic. It felt extremely fast because the AMG I have is a SUV, so it's a torque converter, and the ZL1's a manual. I've never had a dual clutch car, so it already felt super quick. But now that it's been tuned, the transmission TC has been tuned, it feels even faster, which is kind of insane in terms of how the transmission responds. Supercharger is done. VF Engineering Supercharger is what I chose. There are more reasons I can't go into in this video why I chose that. That will be revealed at a later date. No, it wasn't sponsored. Yes, I'm 100% out of pocket on that. No, there's no kickbacks, nothing. So just want to point that out. But it's about 840 horsepower. My exhaust is finally going to the shop, so I'll finally be able to get the exhaust put on. And it should be a car that absolutely rips when we're done. But you know what sucks about it? The steering wheel. Let me show you. So the steering wheel in my R8, because it's a base, the interior itself is just kind of boring. I mean, I do have all the carbon accents, but no diamond stitch, just regular leather. I do have an Alcantara headliner, but it's not diamond stitch once again. And the steering wheel is just Napa leather all the way around, which is really boring. So I figured this would be the perfect opportunity for 2 idiots to install a steering wheel in the R8. We did this video once. Right, Nick?
Yeah.
The 370Z?
Yep. It'll go faster this time.
So much more can go wrong this time. You might be wondering why the hood's popped and there's a piece of cardboard sitting here. I had to disconnect the battery cable. So first of all, Nick, to get this battery out, the windshield wiper arms have to come off. Jeez. This cap comes off, there's a nut in there, there's a special like pulley or puller tool that you need to pop this off. And you need to use a special tool because if you try and pry, you'll crack the glass, which goes under there. Hey, they did on the Gen 2 improve something. Instead of having a million little 8mm bolts, now they're just the little like twist locks to pop all these plastic pieces off because the battery's down here.
In there?
You can't get this off, look, because look, it goes around the wiper.
Oh, yeah.
So you have to pull a wiper off to do that. So anyway, what I did was I was able to actually reach down in there, and I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, and disconnect the negative terminal. That's just a post for jumping, but the terminal is actually under there. So I got it lifted up, and then I slid paper in between the terminal. I jiggled it, it doesn't make a connection. So,
okay.
Since we are gonna be pulling the airbag, I wanted the battery disconnected. Now, I found online a lot of texts that actually work for Audi saying you don't have to disconnect the battery. It's just good measure in case, when you're unplugging stuff, in case you ground something on accident, and then poof! Then it turns into a whole different video. But the reason why I have the cardboard here is to block that latch in case out of habit I somehow go to close this, because that's an electric release.
Oh.
And the battery's in the frunk. So I don't, and the manual release is also in the frunk in case someone were to get locked in there. Who would get locked in there? But anyway, I'm sure there's a cable hidden somewhere to pull this open, and for this very reason. I don't know where it is. I don't want to find out. So ghetto cardboard to keep the latch from actually being able to go down.
Watch you slam it through the cardboard.
Then it's extra wedged.
Yeah, just be like, ugh.
All right, let me show you guys the wheel that we got. So I got this wheel. I found this company on Instagram actually. The company is called Ask Carbon, but I did pay for this wheel. But when I messaged them on Instagram and they saw all my car stuff, they were like, "Hey, would you like a discount code for your audience?" And I was like, "Sure, why the heck not?" I mean, if you guys can save some money. Steering wheels, in my opinion, are like one of the best ways to just really enhance the interior of your car because it's the thing that you're interacting with. It's like your monitor for your setup, right? If your setup's awesome but your monitor sucks, then the whole feel is like kind of terrible. For me, I personally feel that way for steering wheels. I even changed the steering wheel on my golf cart, which is now storage for Christmas stuff. Because my truck's broken, so I can't take the stuff to the storage unit. AJ, is my shit fixed yet?
Oh my God.
It's essentially an OEM wheel that's been reshaped, and I had them do this to my spec. So we've got a reshaped, thicker grip on either side, Alcantara leather, or suede, which right now has lint on it. Carbon fiber, real carbon fiber top and bottom, but check this out. Also carbon fiber here, instead of just the silver that you normally see. So it is an OEM spec wheel. It's not some cheap Chinese knockoff type thing. One other thing that I got, because I was like, well, if I'm in there, one of the other things I really hate about this car is its tiny little paddle shifters. I wish that the shifters were bigger. So they also do, and this isn't just for the R8, like the amount of cars that they do this for is kind of nuts. So if you guys have a sports car or any car that you want a custom wheel for, hit them up. I'll put a link down below, as well as the coupon code so you guys can see if they make wheels for your car. But these are the extended carbon shifter paddles.
Ooh.
So they'll be back here. A lot easier to reach. Because, you know, I spend a lot of time, especially in the AMG, with my hand up here. Because, you know, skin oils really makes Alcantara get gross, and then you're constantly having to clean it. And I do have suede cleaner and a brush, and I clean it all the time. But I do like to hold it up here when I'm just cruising or whatever. This is a lot easier to clean than the Alcantara. That's
the Vin Diesel position.
Yeah. So I'm gonna put this back in here because none of this matters till I can get that one out without breaking something. So the R8 and the headroom in the R8 is great. I'm sitting. I mean, I fit fine in the car, guys. Stop it. Yes, I'm huge. So I have to turn the wheel 90 degrees. I can't really show you guys, but there's a hole behind both of the posts here, and then there's like a spring that I have to disengage. You know, when you shove your shaft in the hole, it's all about feeling around on the inside. You got to hit the spot just right to get the release. I'm talking about the steering wheel. I don't know what the hell you're thinking, Nick. So I got it to unlatch on one side, so that's why it's sticking out so far now. So now, that was the car. I swear, if it was me, I would have owned it.
I would have died.
This part is always so nerve-wracking, like working with the airbag, because it is an explosive charge. Mm-hmm. And even when we did the 370 video, and even my friends at work for like automotive dealerships and stuff, they're like, dude, the airbag's a lot harder to make blow up on accident than you would think. Mm-hmm. That doesn't make me feel more comfortable, because I don't have that level of experience, right? So anyway, there it is. Wow. That right there.
You know, this was a lot less scary than last time, though. I'm gonna be honest, because like we kind of know what to expect.
So here's those little tabs I was grabbing onto, right? The thing is, like, that plug is like recessed in there. How do I get that off? There's probably like, I probably have to pull a lever out, kind of a thing. Like there's probably a little latch and all that. I should probably research this part.
Yeah.
Specifically. I do research.
Okay.
I'll be right back. Okay, so the airbag is out, which is very terrifying. And I feel like I should have taken a picture of the way that the cables were routed. Honestly, I really do. I know that went up top.
We'll figure it out.
Shit.
You have photographic memory.
It's not working today.
Oh. I guess we're doomed.
This is the cable. I don't know if you can see in there. That's the main harness cable that goes through here. And then these plugs right here go to this guy right here. And then there's one up here on the top. And that's for the buttons and nav and start and all that. All right, so now that all the wires are free, we got the ground pinned off, the pin off for the plate. We have to take off now the nut right here. Now these are triple square, which is like found all over this car. So I had to obviously buy triple square sockets. That way I could get in there. So it's kind of like a Torx bit, but with extra points, if you will. All right, we're moving on to points of no return here. Get it? Points? Mm-hmm. Because triple square.
Hey.
See, there was blue Loctite.
Yeah.
As expected. So I'm gonna take that back over to my workbench. I'm trying to be real good about not leaving tools and parts in the floorboard of the car, which I normally do when I'm working on it. I'm trying to be like somewhat organized with this.
What have you done to the other J?
This is not gonna stick. Don't worry. Okay. So now I should be able to just wiggle the wheel off.
You should.
Should. Okay. Yeah. See, Nick, look in there. There's a alignment. There's a top dead center pin. You're kind of blocking it with your body light, but there's a notch, and then there's a notch in the wheel. So you have to line up.
Yeah, I can see it.
Oh, that was actually really easy.
Okay.
Okay.
Look how
you know what? I got all the knee room now.
Yeah.
Let's just make a tiny little wheel.
I have a Nardi on my Fit. We can swap.
So I have to turn it like 62 times, you know. Okay, this is actually the somewhat scary part because of the fact that I have to transfer the electronics now. I'm gonna start taking photos as I go because I should have done that when the airbag was in there, so I knew exactly the orientation that everything was in terms of where the wires went.
That's a good idea.
You think I would have done it before I got this mess, right?
What about the paddles? Should we do those first since we could reach them easier?
No, because these have to come out first.
I thought the paddles were on the wheel. Like
They are on the wheel.
No, on the column. My bad.
No, that's why they turn with wheel.
Yeah, my bad. I'm like, wait.
So this is the part where if something's going to go not good, it'll happen in this process of moving all these electronics over to the other wheel. Like this whole plastic ring, see this doesn't have one, it all has to move over. We get all this slack on here and two easy plugs, but you have no slack over here, and they're stacked plugs. There's like 4 of them, and you can't even get to the bottom ones. But there's no slack on this harness at all whatsoever. And they're such small, fine wires, you can't go yanking on it. So I'm wondering, you see this, how this is routed under here like that? I'm wondering if I was to free that, maybe if I'd have a little more slack and then I can put them back. All right, so the top connectors are out. The bottom ones, man. Ugh. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. Because the push tabs are on the bottom, but they're blocked by this. They're blocked by this. You build cool models and shit. You can deal with these plugs. The real hard part is just getting a hold of the wire. Fortunately, there's 4 different sizes, so they're only gonna go one way. I think. Shoot, these two look very similar.
For speed.
So I just realized this silver piece, which comes off with all these buttons and stuff attached to it, is obviously a carbon one over here. And so I have to now transfer these pieces over to here, which is a step not covered because it's now custom territory. But it's not gonna matter if I can't get this thing off. So after a lot, and I do mean a lot of finagling, I finally got this loose. So there's plugs here for the paddles that I have to undo. They're on the paddle themselves. And then I gotta figure out how the heck I'm gonna transfer this over to the carbon one. I mean, like I could just put the silver one on the carbon, but I feel like the all carbon, we'll go with that, would look so much better. But then I'm gonna have to take the carbon one off. Oh, wait. Yeah, this one's definitely gonna come off easier. Okay. All right, here we go. There's one. There's 2. All right. It's just scary because so much of the car requires these buttons and stuff to all work or it won't start. The start stop button, the mode button, like all that stuff has to obviously be in fully functional form. So although the all carbon looks really nice, I feel like I'm gonna put the silver in there for multiple reasons. One, it doesn't look bad at all. I'll show you guys what the steering wheel looks like in my AMG 63S with the AMG Sport wheel, so you can see how I already kind of know how this combo looks. 2, if we go to the car and you look at the inside, there's lots of silver trim in the car still. The center, the buttons, the inner bezel on the the dash, right? The side of the console. So there's right here the door trim, the door handles.
Yeah.
So there's silver everywhere. It really ties in. And if we go look at the AMG, you'll see what that looks like completed. So although it's a little bit dirty at the moment, dusty, this is how my AMG looks. Alcantara on the side, black stripe, carbon on the bottom, top, and then silver bezel. I really need to detail this car. And then, you know, obviously my buttons here. This is kind of how I was modeling my R8 one after. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with silver. I basically have to do everything in the reverse of what you just saw. And I'm not gonna take you guys along for the ride unless something kind of goes bad along the way. I gotta do some research to see how I'm supposed to attach these paddle shifters to the physical button mechanism, which has me very nervous. So I gotta do some research, so we'll come back in a bit. So I got one of the carbon paddles on. You have to actually, you know, take the paddle part off of the switch mechanism. I don't think I'm gonna use them. I mean, they did throw them in for free. I don't know what they cost. Like, it was part of the wheel kit, but here's the issue. Sure, they're extended, but if I try and pull it up here, see that? It doesn't actually activate the switch. Also, the switch, it's kind of slow in that it feels like it's binding on something, whereas the stock one like retracts really fast. And my concern is that this gets stuck somehow. And yes, I made sure the little spring retention plate and everything's in the right spot. These look good. I'm just really concerned about that binding. So I don't think I'm gonna use these as good as that would look. The base paddles from they're ugly. There's nothing special about them. They just don't look good. The plus model, because remember my car's a base, it's not a plus, has a nicer looking paddle that comes with it. So anyway, I'm not gonna use these, which is kind of unfortunate, but like I said, they were included with the wheel, and if I don't use them, I don't feel like I've wasted any money. So the hard part now is gonna be putting all this back together. Make sure all the wires clear, and then getting the airbag back in here.
And the wires don't get pinched?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, make sure they don't pinch.
Nice and tight. I gotta go get the thing.
Hold up.
So I'm really glad I left the silver, because there's silver right here.
Yeah, it just ties in.
It really ties in nice.
Very nice.
Okay.
Airbag time?
That's the scariest part time, man.
Boomby.
That.
Oh.
Okay. I think it's done. See? Look at that. Yeah, a million times better.
Yeah,
and definitely glad we stuck with the silver. My wife came home because she was out doing wife stuff, and she agreed. The silver instead of the carbon was a much better choice.
I like it too, though, because it really makes all the accents pop out.
These are decorative. It's just these that are actually structural.
Uh-oh.
Why are all the new ones wobbly though?
Oh, this is solid. Okay.
You might want to get out of there, because I'm about to...
Do the thing.
Where are the keys?
Oh my god.
The power button works. I was like, the left blinker's on. Woo! And no errors. That works. That works. That works.
I don't think we can hear you.
Everything's working. Everything works. Yeah, all of the stuff is working.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, and there were no warnings, so that's awesome. Quick. Okay, so this is one reason why I wanted to do a test drive, because the steering wheel is like 1 degree turn to the left, which means I need to move it 1 tooth to the right. So I gotta take the airbag off again, undo those plugs again, and then move it 1 tooth to the right, put it all back together, and we'll be good. So that's why I'm doing this test drive, because it is off 1 tooth. So that means there was some variant in the other wheel versus this wheel, even though those notches are lined up. So what I'll do once I get it aligned is I'll then take a Sharpie and draw my own line. That way I can always align it based on that. But then, you know, Nick wouldn't have got a chance to feel the new TCU tune.
Oh my god.
It's like jumping the thing.
God, that's like roller coaster acceleration.
You know, the kickdown though is. That's before the supercharger, my friend. Okay, let's go get the steering wheel straight, because right now it's like steering wheel. There we go. After one steering wheel adjustment later, it's perfectly straight. So yeah, it's funny how it was off 1 tooth from the other wheel. So apparently there's some variance in the little tab that's on there, but everything works. I'm happy. So let's go back to the garage and we'll talk about my overall like feeling of the wheel, you know, how the Ask Carbon wheel feels, and the installation and the fitment and all that. All right, so the Ask Carbon wheel. There's a lot of companies out there doing carbon steering wheels, you know, or custom steering wheels, I should say. The one that I did in my 370Z that we did the Two Idiots install actually came all the way from Europe. There's European countries doing it. I believe Ask Carbon is based in Canada. So that was, you know, a little bit of a change. The fitment, so they have 3 different shapes you can go with. This is the sport shape. So essentially it's a little bit flatter bottom than OEM, same round top, and then it has the nice thick hand grips on here, which I really like. If I were doing like mountain driving or canyon driving, I tend to do the 9 and 3 o'clock. You know, not the whole like, yeah, I'm gangster driving through the mountains, you know, like an idiot. I will actually hold the steering wheel left and right, 9 and 3, because the paddle shifters are available there too. Although the transmission in this is really good at discerning when you're on a twisty road and accelerating and decelerating a lot, and it'll hold its gear, I still want to be in control of it. The quality feels great. I asked for gray stitching. They did a good job. There's no loose threads or you know, anything hanging off. The fitment of the carbon piece on the center was actually really, really good. I was surprised. Like I said, I didn't even know that carbon piece in the center was coming with the wheel until I opened it up. I put the center back on for a couple of reasons. 1, I didn't want to transfer all these buttons, and 2, it just, with all the silver trim that's still present in the interior of the car, with the airbag and all that, I just wanted to keep that contrast. I think it looks really good. The shifters, the ones that they sent probably would have worked just fine. I think the slower rebound, my biggest fear was that it would, like, I'd pull it and it would get stuck. I mean, that would be a problem when driving, right? Because even if I put it back in automatic mode, if it senses the paddle pulled, it, regardless of the position that the shifter's in, because you push it to the right to go to sport and then you go back to the left to go to automatic, regardless of the position of the shifter, the paddles override that. So if I were having paddle like retraction problems, that would be an issue. I think, quite honestly, the reason why they felt more sluggish is because ultimately the longer paddle is heavier. And so that little metal flap that's job is to push it back, I feel like that almost needed to be a little bit bowed to give it more pressure to push it back. It probably would have been fine. I was just hoping that I would have been able to use my fingertips right here to click it. But the problem is, because the paddles click on a horizontal plane instead of a vertical plane, like pulling up like that, it really became just aesthetic because of the fact that I would not have been able to like click it from up on the top. I would have to have my hand on the side in the very similar OEM position as these. So then these also don't block my view of my MMI as much. So the taller paddles probably would have blocked. I feel like they would have been like, with my line of sight and where I have the wheel, would have been very much in line with where my fuel gauge is on the right. And I feel like it would have blocked that, and that might have become annoying. But I feel like I could actually do this job now in a fraction of the time that I spent doing this for the first time, now that I understand the wiring harness and the way everything goes, like how the switches are assembled in there. Because you actually disassemble the switch paddle to install the Ask Carbon paddles. Some companies actually send the whole mechanism, but that would obviously be a lot more expensive. I think I could actually do this job very quickly. So if I decided to maybe try the paddles out again later, it wouldn't be that big of a deal to take it back apart and do it. But if you're anything like me, then you would feel like the steering wheel is the quickest way to increase the interior value / return on investment to make your interior custom, be what you want, and just make it nicer. The Napa leather steering wheel that comes with the Audi, it really does not go with the car, in my opinion. The cool thing about this was they built this exactly as I asked. I asked for gray stitching. I asked for the sport grip. I asked for the flat bottom. They have another one that's like a racing one that has more of a flat top as well. I didn't want that one. I thought it looked kind of odd. They have ones that have an RPM tack right on the top with the LEDs that light up. And I mean, all of that stuff. So I went with a more simple route, something that was very similar to my AMG, how I showed you. But the cool thing is they will make this to your spec. So if you've got a particular vehicle that you want to have a custom steering wheel in there and you want to like choose the stitching and choose the shape and choose the grip type and the carbon, they even have matte carbon. One of the original wheels that I looked at that I liked had a matte carbon top and bottom, which obviously wouldn't have gone with this car because there's no matte carbon on it, but you could do that. So I'll go ahead and put a link down below as well as a coupon code if you are in the industry. I would have no problems recommending this wheel, the fitment of the wheel, all the parts mounting to it. This isn't some China repped like crap knockoff. It's actually built to OEM quality, and you can see everything fit absolutely flawlessly, which is very important to me. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Again, you'll see more content on the R8. Like I said, I've had a few months experience with it now. We got some major mods in the works of a car that I said I was going to keep stock, but it's impossible. I can't do it. My wife laughed when I said I would keep this car stock because she knows me. But anyway, it's fun. And the 68 Camaro, the paint job is done. The next video you guys see on that will be us picking it up, revealing the color, and then the reassembly of the car gets to begin. Oh yeah, the car everyone thought I got rid of for whatever reason. I did a video saying, here's the 68, I got to replace the 67. All right, guys, see you in the next video, whatever it is. Cars, games, I don't know, maybe something.